In the vibrant coastal town of Esperança, where the salty breeze intertwined with the sweet scent of blooming jasmine, Leo wandered the cobblestone streets, his heart heavy with the weight of grief. The sun began its descent, painting the sky with hues of amber and lavender, a serene backdrop to the storm of emotions brewing within him. Just weeks ago, he had lost his mother, his confidant, his anchor in a world that often felt vast and unwelcoming. Now, in the quiet aftermath of her passing, he found himself grappling with the daunting task of honoring her memory in a way that felt both meaningful and impossibly fragile. Leo had always been sensitive, introspective, the kind of person who felt things deeply. As a budding artist, he poured his soul into his canvas, but this time the colors seemed muted, the inspiration elusive. The vibrant life he once captured was overshadowed by an overwhelming sense of loss, making it difficult to envision a future without her guiding presence. Yet, in his heart, he clung to a singular idea. He would buy the dress that his mother had always dreamed of wearing to the annual summer gala, a cherished memory that echoed with laughter and joy. The boutique, A Beleza, was nestled between a cozy cafe and a quaint bookstore, its windows adorned with delicate lace and pastel fabrics that fluttered like whispers of hope. Leo stepped inside, greeted by the soft jingle of a bell overhead. The atmosphere was warm and inviting, with the faint scent of fresh linens mingling with the aroma of brewed coffee wafting from next door. He took a deep breath, letting the comfort of the space wrap around him, but the weight of his mission loomed large. As he approached the rack of dresses, his gaze was drawn to a figure at the counter, a woman whose presence seemed to illuminate the room. Clara was her name, a striking blend of strength and grace, with chestnut hair cascading in gentle waves around her shoulders. Her expressive hazel eyes held a depth that suggested stories untold, and as she turned to face him, Leo felt a flicker of something unfamiliar, a spark of connection amidst his sorrow. "Can I help you?" Clara's voice was soft, yet confident, a soothing balm that eased the tightness in his chest. "I'm looking for a dress," Leo managed to say, his voice barely above a whisper. "One that my mother always wanted." The words hung in the air, heavy with emotion. He felt vulnerable, exposed in sharing his intent with a stranger, yet something about Clara's demeanor encouraged him to speak freely. Clara's expression softened, and she took a step closer. "That's a beautiful sentiment. Do you have something specific in mind?" Leo nodded, his throat tightening. "It was a vintage design, something elegant and timeless. She always talked about how special it would be to wear it." His voice trailed off and he looked away, fighting back the stinging tears that threatened to spill. "Let me see what I have," Clara said gently, her eyes shimmering with empathy. As she began to sift through the garments, Leo couldn't help but admire the way she moved with purpose. There was an air of determination about her, a strength that resonated with him. In that moment, he felt a flicker of hope, a reminder that even in grief, connections could form unexpectedly. As Clara held up a delicate flowing dress in a shade of soft blue, Leo felt his breath catch. It was reminiscent of the ocean at sunset, a color his mother had adored. "This one," he breathed, reaching out to touch the fabric. It felt like a lifeline, a tangible piece of the past that connected him to his mother's spirit. Clara watched him with a knowing look. "It's lovely, isn't it? I can see why it would hold meaning for you." Leo met her gaze, a rush of gratitude washing over him. "Thank you for understanding. It's just hard, you know?" She was everything to me. A silence fell between them, charged with unspoken emotions. Clara's eyes glistened, and Leo felt a strange sense of kinship with her, as if they were both navigating their own unique storms. The world outside faded into a blur, leaving only the two of them in that intimate space, suspended in time. Sometimes, the best way to honor those we've lost is to hold on to the memories that made us feel alive, Clara said softly, breaking the silence. You're doing something beautiful. Leo smiled, a genuine warmth spreading through him. I hope so. It feels like a way to keep her close, even if just for a moment. As they continued to talk, the conversation flowed effortlessly, weaving between shared experiences and deeper revelations. Clara spoke of her own journey, a story of love and loss, of dreams that once seemed within reach, but had been dashed by life's unpredictable turns. Leo listened, captivated by her honesty, and in that sharing he found solace. Yet even as their connection deepened, an undercurrent of unease lingered. Leo was acutely aware of the differences that separated them. Clara, the owner of a successful boutique, appeared to have her life together, while he was still grappling with the tumult of grief and uncertainty. As he glanced at her, he couldn't shake the feeling of inadequacy that crept in like a shadow. "Do you have a family?" he asked, curious to learn more about her life. Clara hesitated for a moment, her gaze drifting to the window where the last of the sunlight danced across the pavement. "I do," she replied, "but they're complicated. Life hasn't always been kind." Leo sensed the weight of her words. "I understand. It's hard to navigate those relationships sometimes." "Yes," Clara agreed, her voice barely above a whisper. "But we find our way, don't we? We learn to carry the love even when it hurts." He nodded, appreciating her perspective. In that moment, a profound connection blossomed between them, two souls acknowledging the beauty and pain of their shared experiences. Yet, as they continued to talk, Leo couldn't shake the nagging feeling that he was stepping into a world that he didn't quite belong to, a world where Clara thrived, while he felt like a withered flower struggling to bloom. As they wrapped up their conversation, Clara gently placed the dress in a delicate box, her fingers lingering on the fabric. "I'll hold this for you," she said, her eyes meeting his with a warmth that sent a shiver down his spine. "Take your time. You don't have to rush into anything." "Thank you," Leo replied, his heart swelling with gratitude. "I appreciate your kindness." And just like that, the moment hung in the air, thick with unexpressed emotions. As he stepped out of the boutique, the salty breeze kissed his cheeks, a reminder of the life that continued to unfold around him. A life that felt both familiar and foreign. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a soft glow over the town. Leo walked slowly, lost in thought, the dress cradled in his hands like a precious treasure. He felt a flicker of hope, a sense that perhaps, amidst his grief, he could forge a new path, a path where memories and love intertwined, where the past could coexist with the promise of tomorrow. Yet as he glanced back at the boutique, he couldn't shake the feeling that his encounter with Clara was just the beginning of something he wasn't quite ready for. A connection simmered beneath the surface, one that both thrilled and terrified him. Little did he know, the journey ahead would challenge his perceptions of love, loss, and the courage to embrace the unexpected. As he turned the corner, the sound of laughter echoed from a nearby cafe, mixing with the gentle lapping of the waves, creating a symphony of life that beckoned him forward. In that moment, Leo felt the first stirrings of hope, an unfamiliar sensation that whispered of possibility, a gentle nudge to step into the light after a long, dark night. And as the stars began to twinkle in the sky, he realized that perhaps, just perhaps, the future held more than he had dared to dream. As Leo stepped into the quaint boutique, a gentle chime announced his arrival, and the rich scent of lavender and vanilla enveloped him like a warm embrace. The soft lighting cast a golden hue over the carefully arranged dresses, each one hanging like a promise of beauty and grace. It was a world that felt both foreign and familiar. And for a moment, he stood there, mesmerized by the delicate fabrics that swayed ever so slightly with the breeze of an open window. Clara was behind the counter, her brow furrowed as she adjusted a display of handcrafted accessories. She looked up, her eyes meeting his for the briefest moment. A flicker of recognition passed between them, a silent acknowledgement of the connection they had forged in that fleeting encounter outside the cafe. Her heart skipped a beat, and she felt a rush of warmth flushing her cheeks. In that second, she saw not just a man in need of a dress, but someone whose spirit seemed to carry the weight of the world. "Can I help you?" Clara asked, her voice steady despite the fluttering in her chest. The question felt both mundane and profound, as if she was offering him a lifeline. Leo swallowed hard, the lump in his throat a reminder of why he was there. "I'm looking for a dress," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "For my mother." Clara's expression softened, her eyes reflecting a deep understanding. "A special occasion?" He hesitated, the memories flooding back, the laughter, the warmth, the love they shared. "She passed away recently. It was something she always wanted, and I thought—" His words trailed off, the weight of his grief pressing down on him. "I'm so sorry," Clara said, stepping around the counter, her presence grounding him. "Let me show you what we have." She led him deeper into the boutique, past the rows of dresses that danced like whispers of the past. Each one seemed to carry a story, a heartbeat echoing through the fabric. As they browsed together, Clara noticed the way Leo's fingers brushed over the delicate lace, the way his eyes sparkled with a mix of nostalgia and longing. "Do you have a color in mind?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. "Something soft," he replied, his voice heavy with emotion. "Maybe a light blue or lavender, something that reminds me of her." Clara nodded, her heart aching for him. She selected a few dresses and handed them to him, their fabrics flowing like water between his fingers. "This one might suit your mother beautifully," she suggested, holding up a gown that shimmered like the sea at dusk. Leo took the dress in his hands, the fabric cool against his skin. "It's perfect," he said, his voice cracking slightly. She would have loved it. In that moment, Clara felt a rush of something indescribable, a connection that transcended mere sympathy. It was as if they were both standing at the edge of a vast ocean of emotions, each wave a reminder of their own pasts. She caught a glimpse of his vulnerability, and it stirred something deep within her, a longing to reach out and comfort him, to share in his sorrow and joy. "What was she like?" Clara asked softly, her curiosity mingling with empathy. Leo looked up, surprised by the question. "She was everything to me," he began, his voice laced with reverence. "A dreamer, an artist. She had this way of seeing beauty in the smallest things. The light that filtered through the trees, the way the waves crashed against the shore. She taught me to appreciate life in all its colors." As he spoke, Clara could see the flicker of memories in his eyes, the way they shone with love and loss. "I just want to honor her memory, to keep her spirit alive in some way," he added, his voice barely above a whisper. "I think you're doing that already," Clara said, her heart swelling with admiration. "Choosing a dress for her is such a beautiful gesture." Their eyes locked for a brief moment, and a silence enveloped them. It was a silence heavy with understanding and unspoken emotions, a moment suspended in time where the world outside faded away. Clara felt a warmth spreading through her, a longing she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. But just as quickly as it began, the moment was broken by the sound of a bell ringing as uma cliente entró na loja. Clara turned her attention to a woman que parecía estar en busca de algo específico. Leo stepped back, feeling the shift in the air. The connection they had felt a moment ago now seemed fragile, as if the wind could sweep it away. While Clara helped a nova cliente, Leo stood to the lado, his thoughts swirling. The warmth he had felt in Clara's presence lingered, but the weight of his loss loomed large. He couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt for even contemplating the idea of moving forward, of feeling something again. As he waited, he watched Clara interact with the cliente, her smile genuine and warm. She was a force of nature, exuding strength and grace despite her own scars. He admired how she made the other woman feel at ease, her laughter ringing like music in the air. There was a lightness to her that drew him in, but it also frightened him. What if he let himself feel this connection? What if it led to hurt? Minutes passed, and when the cliente finalmente saiu, Clara voltou para Leo, seu sorriso radiante. Desculpe pela interrupção, ela disse. Agora, onde estávamos? I was just thinking about how brave you are, Leo said, surprising himself with his words. You have this incredible ability to make people feel seen. Clara's cheeks flushed slightly, and for a moment, she looked down, almost shy. Thank you. I just believe that everyone has a story worth telling. As the conversation flowed, they began to share more of their lives. Clara spoke about her own journey, the challenges of running a small business, and the sacrifices she'd made along the way. It's not always easy, she admitted, her voice tinged with vulnerability. But I love what I do. It's my way of connecting with the world. Leo nodded, captivated by her passion. And you do it beautifully, he replied, feeling a spark of admiration blossom within him. Just as they were beginning to find their rhythm, the bell rang again, and a familiar face stepped through the door. It was Leo's friend, Sam, a vibrant presence that lit up any room. Leo, there you are, he called out, his voice booming with enthusiasm. Leo felt a twinge of annoyance. Sam was always the life of the party, and while he appreciated his friend's energy, he also felt a pang of disappointment at the interruption. Hey, Sam, he said, forcing a smile. Clara watched the exchange, a flicker of understanding passing between them. She could sense the shift in Leo's energy, the way his demeanor changed with Sam's arrival. It was as if the walls he had carefully constructed around himself began to close in again. We were just talking about dresses, Clara said, attempting to keep the atmosphere light. Oh, dresses. Is it for a special occasion? Sam asked, his curiosity piqued. Leo hesitated, caught off guard by the question. It's for my mother, he finally admitted, his voice small. Sam's expression softened, and he stepped closer, placing a hand on Leo's shoulder. That's really sweet, man. I'm sure she'd be proud. Clara smiled gently, sensing the bond between the two men. We were just discussing her love for art and beauty, she added, hoping to steer the conversation back to the warmth they had been sharing. Art, huh? Sam said, his interest piqued. Is that what you do, Leo? Are you an artist? Leo felt a wave of uncertainty wash over him. I'm trying to be, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I paint, but it's been hard to find my footing. Clara's heart ached for him. She could see his insecurities bubbling to the surface, and she longed to reassure him. You should show me some of your work sometime, she said, her eyes sparkling with genuine interest. Yeah, man, let's see what you got. Sam chimed in, his enthusiasm unwavering. Leo felt a mix of gratitude and fear. Maybe one day, he replied, avoiding their gaze. The three of them spent the next few moments chatting, but Leo couldn't shake the feeling of vulnerability creeping in. He was acutely aware of how he had opened up to Clara, how she had seen him in a way that few others had. And now, with Sam here, he felt the urge to retreat, to hide behind the walls he had built. After a while, Clara excused herself to help another client, leaving Leo and Sam to catch up. As they talked, Leo felt the familiar weight of his friend's exuberance, but it didn't quite match the warmth he had felt with Clara. Hey, are you okay? Sam asked, his voice dropping to a more serious tone. You've seemed a bit off lately. Leo sighed, feeling the pressure of unspoken words pressing against his chest.
I don't know, man. It's just been a lot. My mom, and now this. This? Sam prompted, his brow furrowing in concern. Clara? Leo said, the name escaping his lips before he could stop himself. There's just something about her. I feel drawn to her, but I don't know if I should be. It feels too soon. Dude, it's been a while. You have to let yourself feel again, Sam said, his voice filled with encouragement.
Your mum would want you to be happy. Leo nodded, but doubts swirled in his mind. But what if I'm just running away from my grief? What if I'm just looking for a distraction? Or maybe you're looking for a connection? Sam replied, his words laced with wisdom. Sometimes the best way to heal is to let someone in. You don't have to rush it, but don't shy away from it either. Leo pondered Sam's words, feeling the warmth of their friendship surrounding him. You're right, he finally said, a glimmer of hope igniting within him. Maybe I need to be brave for once. Just then Clara returned, her presence lighting up the room once more. Did I hear someone talking about being brave? She asked, a teasing smile on her lips. Maybe, Leo replied, his heart racing at the thought of opening up to her again. As the afternoon wore on, Leo found himself caught between the warmth of Clara's laughter and the steady, grounding presence of Sam. The boutique felt like a cocoon, a safe haven where he could explore the complexities of his emotions without judgment. But as the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting golden rays through the window, Leo knew that the inevitable moment of parting would soon arrive. The thought filled him with a bittersweet ache, a pang of longing for something he had just begun to touch. Clara stepped closer to Leo, her voice softening. I really hope you find the dress that honors your mother, she said, her sincerity evident. And if you ever want to talk or share your art, I'm here. Leo's heart swelled at her words. Thank you, Clara. It means a lot to me. As they locked eyes, a silent understanding passed between them, a promise of connection that neither of them fully grasped yet. Just as Clara was about to say something more, the bell chimed once more and the moment was interrupted again. Sorry for the intrusion, but do you have this in a size larger? A woman asked as she stepped into the boutique. The atmosphere shifted and Leo felt the moment slip away, the connection hanging in the air like a fragile thread. As Clara turned her attention to the new client, Leo stepped back, his heart heavy with unspoken words. He knew he had to make a choice, whether to embrace the possibility of love or retreat into the safety of his grief. With one last glance at Clara, he took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his emotions settle within him. Perhaps it was time to honor not only his mother's memory, but also the chance to let someone new in, to explore what lay beyond the pain. As he turned to leave, he felt a flicker of hope igniting within him, a whisper of possibility urging him to take the leap. And with that, Leo stepped out into the world, ready to face whatever came next, a heart still aching, but now open to the beauty of connection. As Leo stepped out into the cool evening air, the salty breeze tousled his hair, carrying with it the distant sound of waves crashing against the shore. The vibrant colors of the sunset painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, a stark contrast to the heaviness that lingered in his heart. Each step away from the boutique felt like a silent farewell to Clara, the woman who had unknowingly awakened feelings he thought were buried beneath his grief. With a mixture of longing and uncertainty, he wandered through the cobblestone streets of the small coastal town, where the scent of freshly brewed coffee wafted from nearby cafes, mingling with the fragrance of blooming jasmine that adorned the old brick walls. The townsfolk bustled about, laughter and chatter filling the air, but for Leo, the world felt muted, as if he was observing life through a foggy window. He found himself at a small park overlooking the ocean, where he often came to think. The benches were worn and familiar, each one holding memories of quiet contemplation. Tonight, however, his thoughts were anything but calm. He sat down, running his fingers along the rough wood, and closed his eyes, allowing the sound of the waves to wash over him. What was it about Clara? He couldn't shake the image of her warm smile, the way her eyes sparkled when she spoke of her boutique, or how she seemed to understand his pain without him uttering a word. It was unsettling and exhilarating all at once. How could he feel such a connection with someone whose life felt so different from his own? His mind wandered to his mother, her laughter echoing in his ears like a sweet melody. She had always encouraged him to embrace life, to seek out beauty, even in the darkest of times. "Love is the greatest gift we can give ourselves, Leo," she often said, her voice gentle yet firm. A pang of sadness hit him as he thought of the dress. It was more than just a piece of clothing. It was a reminder of his mother's dreams, her unfulfilled wishes now resting on his shoulders. Buying that dress had been an act of love, a way to keep her spirit alive. But now he realized that perhaps it was also a way to open his heart again, to not only honor her memory, but to embrace the possibility of new beginnings. With a deep breath, Leo rose from the bench, determination coursing through him. He needed to return to the boutique, to Clara. He needed to confront the feelings that had been stirring within him, even if it scared him to think of what that might mean. As he walked back toward the boutique, the sun dipped below the horizon, leaving a soft twilight glow in its wake. The streets were quieter now, the lively chatter replaced by the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant calls of seagulls. His heart raced as he approached the familiar entrance, the warm light spilling out onto the sidewalk, beckoning him inside. Clara was there, arranging a display of dresses, her brow furrowed in concentration. The sight of her brought a rush of emotions, admiration, longing, and a tinge of fear. He hesitated at the threshold, his heart pounding in his chest. Would she be receptive to him? Would she understand the whirlwind of feelings he had been grappling with since their first meeting? "Leo?" Clara's voice broke through his thoughts, and he looked up to find her gazing at him, her expression shifting from surprise to something softer, more inviting. "Hi," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. I wanted to talk." "Of course." Clara stepped closer, her eyes searching his face for answers. "I was just about to close up for the night, but I can stay a little longer if you'd like." The warmth of her presence enveloped him, and he nodded, grateful for her willingness to listen. They moved to a cozy corner of the boutique, where the soft glow of fairy lights created an intimate atmosphere, and the scent of fabric and fresh flowers hung in the air. Leo took a deep breath, the words tumbling around in his mind like autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze. "I've been thinking a lot since our last conversation," he began, his voice steadying with each syllable. "About my mother and the dress. And about you." Clara's expression shifted, a flicker of vulnerability crossing her features. "I've been thinking about you too," she confessed softly.
I didn't know how to approach this. Whatever this is between us. Leo felt a surge of hope mixed with trepidation. I know we come from different worlds and I don't want to overstep, but there's something about you that feels so familiar, so right. It scares me, honestly. "Me too," Clara admitted, her eyes glistening in the dim light. "I've built this life for myself and I thought I was content."
"But then you walked in, and everything shifted." He stepped closer, the unspoken tension between them palpable. "I lost my mother recently and I thought I'd never feel this way again. But you make me want to open up. You make me want to believe in love again." Clara's breath caught in her throat, and she took a step forward, closing the distance between them. "I understand more than you know. I've had my own losses, my own dreams that have slipped away. But I also believe that love can bloom in the most unexpected places. In that moment, They stood together, two souls intertwining under the weight of their shared experiences. The vulnerability between them became a bridge, connecting their pasts and illuminating the possibilities of their future. But just as the air thickened with unspoken promises, Leo's insecurities crept back in. What if I'm not enough for you? What if my life is too complicated? I don't want to bring you down with me. Clara reached out, her fingers brushing against his arm, sending a spark of warmth through him. Leo, we all have our complexities, but that's what makes us human. I see you, your heart, your pain, your passion.
And I want to be here for you, if you'll let me. His heart swelled at her words, the fear that had held him captive slowly melting away. You don't know how much that means to me, he whispered, a smile breaking through the somberness that had enveloped him for so long. Before he could think, Leo leaned in, capturing her hand in his, their fingertips intertwining like ivy on a trellis.
Clara's eyes widened for a moment, but then she smiled, a light that radiated from within her. Leo, she started, but he gently placed a finger over her lips. I know, he said, his gaze locked onto hers. Let's take this slow, let's not rush into anything. But I want to explore this, whatever it is. Clara nodded, her smile widening. And in that small gesture, a sense of relief washed over Leo. They were both willing to try, to step into the unknown together, carrying their pasts, but also leaving space for something new. As they stood together, an unexpected downpour began outside, the sound of rain tapping against the boutique's window like a gentle rhythm. It felt like the world was cleansing itself, washing away their doubts and fears. Maybe this rain is a good sign, Clara said, laughter dancing in her voice. It's like the universe is giving us a nudge. Leo chuckled, the sound light and free, or a reminder to stay indoors and enjoy each other's company. They both laughed, the tension easing as they exchanged playful glances. In that moment, the storm outside became a backdrop to their blossoming connection, a safe haven where they could be themselves, free from the weight of the world. As the rain poured, they found themselves drawn closer, their hands still intertwined. The warmth of their connection enveloped them, and with a shared understanding, they leaned in, their lips meeting in a tender kiss that spoke volumes. It was soft and tentative at first, a whisper of what was to come, but as they melted into one another, the kiss deepened, igniting a warmth that spread through Leo's entire being. It was as if the kiss carried the weight of all their unspoken words, their hopes and their fears, wrapping them in a cocoon of understanding. When they finally pulled away, both breathless, Clara's eyes sparkled with a mix of surprise and delight. "Wow," she breathed, a hint of playfulness in her tone. "I didn't expect that." "Neither did I," Leo admitted, feeling a lightness in his chest. "But it felt right." "It did," she agreed, her expression softening. "And I think it's just the beginning." As they stood together in the boutique, the rain created a symphony outside, a soothing melody that echoed the rhythm of their hearts. They had taken a leap of faith together, and in doing so, had opened a door to a future filled with possibilities. Their connection was still new, fragile like a freshly bloomed flower, but it was also strong, rooted in understanding and shared experiences. Leo felt a sense of hope blooming within him, a promise that perhaps, just perhaps, he could find love again, even amidst the shadows of his past. Under the soft glow of the fairy lights, they talked late into the night, sharing stories, dreams, and laughter, their hearts weaving a tapestry of connection that would carry them into whatever lay ahead. The dress for his mother remained a cherished memory, a poignant reminder of love lost, but now it also symbolized the love that was just beginning to blossom between two souls who had found each other in the most unexpected of places.